when you think about championships, should it take away from your greatness, right? If you're all-time great? No. But it definitely enhance your greatness, okay? It definitely enhance your greatness. Because listen to this. No one remembers all-stars, okay? No one remembers all NBAs. No one remembers all defensive teams. No one remembers none of that shit. People remember champions. If I ask you who was the champion in 2004, I know I can think of it right off the top of my head, the Detroit Pistons. Ask me who was the champion in 2000, 1999, 2001, Kobe and Shaq, right? The list goes on. 2008, damn it was me, right? People remember champions. Champions are with you for the rest of your life once you're a champion. Wherever you go, people are going to remember you not for the all-star games that you made, but for the championships that you won. So let's not start moving the goalposts and lowering the standard and acting. Nah, championship matters. And when you talk about being in those conversations as far as the GOATs and all-time greats, no, they won. They won rings at a high level. The mindset, the Mamba mentality. The Mamba mentality was championship or bust. By any, look, championship or bust, no in between, right? Cole never talked about how many all-star games he made. No, Cole talked about championships. Jordan talked about championships. That's what matters. Does it take away from your greatness again? No, it don't. But it definitely adds to your greatness.
And let's not forget that part of greatness is showing up in the most important moments. The most important moments are playoffs and championships. And that is the reason that you get to be, whether it's in the top 5 or top 3 or top 2, or you get to be the GOAT, is because in the most important moment, as individually great as you were that great or better when it counted most. And so LeBron James is extremely intelligent. He knows that if now he comes out and says, hey, it's not about how many rings you accumulate, it's about how you played individually. Now, all of his fans, his people that say he's the GOAT can point to those numbers as long as you don't point to the amount of rings that somebody won, because that's the conversation or argument that he can't win. And I think for him, right, it's hypocritical. Because you shaped your career early on around winning championships because you knew championships could make you the GOAT. You even said, when I came back 3-1 against the Warriors, that made me the GOAT because I won that championship. Now, all of a sudden, because maybe there's a fear we won't win another one, championships or amount of championships don't.
There are moments in sports where the temperature changes overnight, and this week was one of them. Ryan Clark and Kendrick Perkins didn't just critique LeBron James, they lit a match under the entire GOAT debate. Their accusation: LeBron isn't evolving the conversation, he's trying to rewrite it. Clark said it straight up: LeBron doesn't hate ring culture, he hates more rings culture. And that line hit like a brick. Because if championships never mattered, why did he leave Cleveland the first time? Why form a super team in Miami? Why declare himself the GOAT after 2016? Back then, a ring was the ultimate receipt. Now that 6 feels out of reach, suddenly championships don't define greatness? That's not growth. That's revisionist history. Perk didn't dance around it either. He said nobody remembers all-star appearances. Nobody debates all-NBA selections at the barbershop. Nobody hangs banners for advanced metrics. Fans remember champions. They remember Kobe's 5. They remember Jordan's 6. Rings don't live in spreadsheets. They live in memory. They're stitched into highlight reels and burned into history books. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. After 2016, LeBron didn't say, "My stats made me the GOAT." He said that championship did. He crowned himself because of a ring. Not longevity, not totals. A ring. So what changed? Clark argues nothing changed except the math. When the path to 6 narrowed, the criteria shifted. Now it's about durability. Now it's about total points. Now it's about playing longer than anyone else. But is that a philosophy shift, or is it scoreboard management? Ask yourself this: if LeBron had 6 right now, would we even be having this conversation? Or would ring culture still be the gold standard? Think back to Cleveland the first time. 2 MVPs, historic numbers. But he knew it wasn't enough. That's why the decision happened. That's why Miami became a reality with Wade and Bosh. It was always about rings. That was the mission. That was the obsession. But when the throne in Chicago started looking untouchable, suddenly the narrative pivoted. That's what Clark is calling out, not LeBron's greatness, but the shifting goalposts. Clark even pulled a brutal analogy. Dan Marino was electric, unreal talent, but no Super Bowl. Meanwhile, Tom Brady stacked titles and became immortal. That's the difference between being spectacular and being legendary. Perkins doubled down. He said fans don't replay box scores, they replay confetti falling. They replay banners rising. They replay Kobe and Shaq closing teams out. The Pistons shocking the Lakers in 2004. The Celtics reclaiming glory in 2008. Championships are the currency. Everything else is loose change. And this is where it stings. When history is written decades from now, it won't open with all NBA counts. It'll open with finals records. Michael Jordan, 6 trips, 6 wins, 6 finals MVPs, undefeated when it mattered most. LeBron, 10 trips for wins. Yes, 10 appearances is incredible, but 6 losses on the biggest stage leave a mark. That's not hate. That's reality. And no accumulation stat erases that visual. Let's be honest with each other. Numbers pile up if you play long enough at an elite level. Longevity is greatness, yes. But immortality, that's forged in moments. Game 7s, finals daggers. Seasons where the trophy is the only thing that matters. Marino had numbers. Brady had parades. Barry Bonds had stats. Derek Jeter had October. Talent gets applause. Rings get reverence. Jordan understood this instinctively. His resume wasn't just impressive, it was airtight. 6 for 6. No blemishes in June. That's myth-making stuff. LeBron's career is historic, but it isn't bulletproof. 10 finals sounds dominant until you say 4 and 6. That contrast is why Clark and Perkins struck a nerve. Because when LeBron downplays rings, it feels less like perspective and more like protection. Jordan's standard hasn't moved. 6 championships. 6 finals MVPs. 0 defeats on the final stage. For years, LeBron chased that ghost openly. Every move had championship implications. Miami for power. Cleveland for redemption. Los Angeles for legacy. Rings were always the North Star. But if 6 isn't coming, what's left? Shift the debate. Elevate totals. Highlight durability. Emphasize career accumulation. It's strategic. It's smart. But fans see it. Clark's phrase keeps echoing. LeBron doesn't hate ring culture. He hates more rings culture. When rings were attainable, they were sacred. Now that the gap feels permanent, they're optional. That contradiction is why this debate refuses to die. Because greatness isn't about adjusting the measurement when it stops favoring you. It's about meeting the standard that already exists. But here's where Perkins added nuance. Not all rings weigh the same. Context matters. Giannis in 2021. No super team. Small market. Stayed put. Delivered. That ring feels heavy. It feels pure. It tells a story. Compare that to LeBron's Miami titles. Dominant, yes, but forever tied to the decision. Cleveland 2016. Legendary. One of the greatest finals ever. But stands alone as the exception. The 2020 Lakers title counts, but the bubble context leaves debate in its wake. Valid championships, absolutely. Mythical? That's where arguments begin. Jordan's 6 came in his prime. 6 as the unquestioned alpha. Magic's Lakers. Clyde's Blazers. Barkley's Suns. Peyton's Sonics. Stockton and Malone's Jazz. He didn't leave Chicago to engineer leverage. He built, endured, and conquered. 2 three-peats. Climbed the mountain twice, and never slipped. That's why his rings feel untouchable. It wasn't just winning, it was dominance sustained under pressure. Perkins' core message is simple: rings aren't equal. Some carry the weight of myth. Others carry context and caveats. That's why Jordan's 6 looms so large over LeBron's 4. It's not just the number, it's the path. By now, the contradiction Clark highlighted is impossible to ignore. LeBron's journey was fueled by championships. He admitted it. He validated it in 2016. He chased it every time he changed jerseys. But now that Jordan 6 stands firm, the debate pivots to longevity and totals. That's not accidental. That's survival in a conversation he desperately wants to win. Perkins said it plainly. Fans remember champions. Legacy is banners, not box scores. Kobe understood it. Jordan embodied it. That's why their stories feel sealed. LeBron's greatness is undeniable. Top two ever? Arguably. But the very act of minimizing rings tells you everything. Deep down, he knows the bar he's chasing. And here's the real question for you. Does shifting the criteria strengthen his case or expose it? Because history doesn't bend easily. It doesn't rewrite itself for convenience. Michael Jordan isn't just a name in this debate. He's the standard, the benchmark, the summit. LeBron built a career that demands respect. But if rings are the ultimate receipt, the scoreboard still reads 6-4. So I'm asking you, are championships the final word? Or has the definition of greatness truly changed? Drop your take below, because this debate isn't ending anytime soon.